Hey, welcome back. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're on podcast number 3, and this is season 3, 3.6. So we're excited to have everybody on the call tonight. You guys are in for a treat. I can't wait to introduce this couple. They are fantastic. They hail out of the Ohio area. Dear friends of mine. I've been mentoring them for 25 years. Great couple, great family. And he's going to talk about how they went from zero to owning over 220 plus units, starting with nothing, and he's got another 675 to go. They close this out, they'll be at 895, close to 1,000 units is his goal. So right now, we're so excited to bring in tonight my dear friend, Mr. Blake and Laura Hunt. Are you guys there?
Hi, Mr.
Good evening, Mr. Thomas.
How you guys doing?
Excellent, excellent. And yourself?
Great. You guys are amazing, amazing couple. Why don't we start off by talking about, everything. People were signing in early today. They saw the earlier video, but tell everybody how you guys met, first of all. Let's start there tonight.
Actually, about 3 days ago is 29-year anniversary since we met.
Wow, 3 days ago. Congratulations.
Yeah. Cinco de Mayo celebration.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yep. So we'll never forget when we met. For sure.
Easy. The United States and Mexico celebrating that day.
That's correct. That's correct.
So let me ask you this: who went hubba first when they saw each other?
I would say it's probably me first when I saw her smile.
I didn't like it very much. It was, I wasn't interested or anything until like a week later. Yeah. And
what
he
happened?
called me on the phone, and I love his voice on the phone. So that was for me.
I didn't know that, Miss Laura Hunt. I mean, that's funny. When I talk to a lot of couples and interview them, they always say they never liked the guy first. I don't know why that is.
I'm a good salesman, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you are, sir. I know you for a long time. You are a very good salesman. My goodness. So where was you guys' first date at?
Mexican restaurant, actually.
Okay.
I have him pick him up in the corner. I didn't tell him where I live. So I said, you can meet me at the gas station. And then,
Just in case you had to run.
Yeah. But
smart girl.
Now, I'm gonna have some more fun with this before we get deeper into the conversation tonight. Did you have some mad money? Do you know what mad money is, Miss Laura Hunt? Do you know what mad money is?
Mad money is? No.
Mad money. Most mothers teach their daughters when they go out on a date, first time at least, to bring an extra cash with them in case they have to get away and get a taxi home. So they call it mad money.
Yeah, right. It's always the backup plan. I always had that. Yeah. Yes. But after the first dance, then we just talked like for forever, and then we were never apart after that.
We actually went outside the restaurant and we talked for like about 2 hours.
Wow. So 2 hours talking. Now, when I first met you guys were here in Vegas. Guys, that was what, 25, 26 years ago, something like that?
About 25 years.
25 years now. Yeah. So tell everybody on the call here how you and I met, Mr. Blake and Ms. Laura. Tell them how we met a little bit. And tell that story a little bit, because I know they know you guys were in Oregon, but tell her how we met.
We met in Las Vegas when we lived in Vegas. I believe we were introduced, was it Jack Zeitz?
Oh God, Jack Zeitz. Yes, Jack Zeitz. Oh my God, I thought about that guy about 2 months ago. Yeah. And we met through Zach Zeitz. We got involved in a network marketing company together, and you did really well. And then you decided to move to Oregon.
Yes, sir.
You bought some. Wait a minute, you did buy real estate because you bought some properties here when you were here. So tell everybody how you got started in real estate a little bit.
So we were dabbling in real estate in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, the market turned, and back in 2008, 2009. So we were just dabbling at it. It was we had a triplex and a couple of houses.
Yeah. Good. I want to go back a little bit before we get started. I want to, tell them we met, but now I'm going to go back a little further so people can understand your background, because I think it's very important for people to understand that you came from nothing and made the two of you. So Miss Laura, first of all, we're going to ladies first. Where were you born and raised, kind of?
I was born in Mexico City.
Yeah.
And then we moved to a different state for
Hmm.
like about 12 years. And then my dad decided to bring us to the United States.
Okay, great. Now, then you met Mr. Hunt. Tell everybody your background, because you're from Colombia.
Pretty humble beginnings, Mr. Thomas. So I was born in Colombia, South America, and for a short period of my time, I was pretty much. I barely went to school. I had to. I started working at a young age, around 5, 6 years old, to try to support the family. Um, my I haven't told you this, but I'll go a little bit into it. My dad left us when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I remember me telling my mom, "Don't worry about it. Between my older brother and I, we're going to take care of the family."
Hmm.
So that's how we started. Think uh, Things took a turn when I was about 8 years old. My mom met this gentleman, and which had became my stepfather. And things were not, instead of getting better after my dad left, they got worse. Um, very abusive man, very abusive man. I saw things as a child that no child should see at that age.
Yeah.
Um, he was actually using me, and I'm not sure if I shared this with you, Mr. Tama. He was actually using me as a drug runner because it's very easy for children to get around authority without being noticed. So he was using me as a drug runner. Um, Back then I thought to myself, there's got to be something better than this. And the good Lord was watching after me because, uh, you know, because of the drug running, I got into a situation that I knew that if I took the leap of faith, so to speak, that I would never look back. And I took the leap of faith and I separated myself from the situation by leaving my house. With I took the drugs, I took them away, and I was on the streets for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And then from the streets of Colombia, I went to an orphanage. And then from the orphanage, at the age around 11 years old, I had the good fortune of being adopted by an American family, an attorney, and a second grade teacher.
Hmm.
So that's just a small version of my humble beginnings.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that out. And you don't have to go into more detail because I do know more, and we're not here to expose all that. But what I wanted to expose to the listeners around the world, here's a young man that stepfather at 8 years old came in the picture and was doing nefarious things illegally. And down in Colombia, they could use kids because who think kids are running drugs across town?
That's correct.
And there's a movie out with, I think it was, I forgot his name. He was a mule at 80 or 90, and I think that was Clint Eastwood. Yeah, and you got tired of that. So let me take a step of faith. I'm going to throw these drugs out. I'm not doing this. I'm going to leave the house. Lived on the streets of Colombia for, was it 2 or 3 years? You lived on the streets?
Yeah, for around 2.5 years. Yeah.
2.5 years in the streets. And the folks, the reason why we're going here, folks. Now think about your condition, and you think you have it bad or had it bad, or however you want to look at it. Always remember this: there's somebody out there having it worse than you. And I'm so proud of this young man. I am so, so, so proud of him because God had stepped in his life. He took a leap of faith. That's God. That's what he said. He took a leap of faith.
Yes.
Maybe you might not know God, but he took a leap of faith, knowing God had his back, and got 2.5 years off the streets, living. Now, just take a moment, everybody. Just take a moment, because I want this to be a heartfelt conversation tonight. Think about, could you survive on the worst streets in your city for 2.5 years with no shelter, no home, just you by yourself? So think some of the plight and the things you had to go through just to survive. So the reason why I want to spend a moment there to let you guys think about it, because that's a tough life. That's a hard life. And then he went into the orphanage. because he wanted to get off the streets because like he said earlier, I don't know if you guys caught this. He's seeing things that no child should see. No child in anyone in the world should see stuff like he's seen. And I am so grateful that he took that step and leap of faith to go to the orphanage. And from the orphanage, an attorney up in Orlando, up in Oregon, and his wife was a school teacher, adopted him. So take it from there, sir. I just wanted to iterate that so people at home around the world, can grasp this, can think about this. Because a lot of times we hear things, it goes in the ear, out the left ear and out the right ear. We can't understand the story or even take a moment to slow down just to fathom. Could we even do that? And how's this possible? And this is a part of his story I want you guys to really get. So with all odds, he risen up to where we're going to talk about today. But I just wanted to start and lay a platform and a foundation so you can see that it's possible for you, no matter where you are in life, no matter what circumstances you think you may be going through. There's somebody has it worse off than you, but then again, they came out of it. So into the orphanage, got adopted. Take it from there, sir. I'm sorry. I just want to lay that foundation.
I don't know. That's great, Mr. Thomas. And I'm glad I was reflecting back and hearing you talk about it. I have learned to separate myself from that situation. I think, when you go through a traumatic experience in life, I think, our brain is amazing. Um, Listening to you talk right now and going over and over, for me, it sounds to me like you're talking about somebody else. And it's weird to me because even when I talk about it, sometimes it's like, wow, that was me. So I've learned to separate myself, from that situation, probably because of the pain and the things that we have to go through sometimes, and we separate ourselves. But thank you for even helping me reflect on that for a minute.
And
Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
And the reason why I want to reflect on that and labor there for just a few minutes, because without a test, ladies and gentlemen, there's no testimonial.
That's correct.
And I want you to know, no matter what you may be going through, ladies and gentlemen that are listening from different parts of the world, it's still hope for you. And you can do it.
And that's one of the reasons why I want to share my story more and more. You and I had a conversation last week that there were certain things that happened in my life as a child. They have no power over me anymore. And the more I talk about it, the more therapeutic it becomes.
Mhm.
But more importantly, it's not about me anymore, Mr. Thomas. It's about if I can give a glimpse of hope to somebody around the world, anywhere they are, then going through everything that I have gone through, it was worth it.
Well, not only that, Mr. Hunt, it's very important because you've healed. And by people hearing your story, it will help others around the world. That little bit you talked about will help so many other people heal.
Yeah.
Because you did it.
Yeah.
That means you did it. They can do it as well. So you're inspiring, and for a lot of people, because a lot of people have things, baggage they got with them, they're trying to get away from, demons they got to get out of them, or things they still carry with them that it's complex. And they think they're the only one who went through these things, when there's healing and hearing that somebody else did it. And also, you can be healed if you keep going down that road. And his story tonight is a healing of all healings.
Amen. Amen.
Go ahead.
If I might brag about my adopted parents for a minute, this will tell you what kind of people they are. Uh, Besides adopting me, they adopted 11. They adopted 11 total kids, and they had one of their own. So 12. I grew up in a family of 12, so it was quite fun growing up. After that, and the Lord has a way to bring us through trials and tribulations, through to show us, um, you know, his love through, through people like the Hunts.
Yeah. Well, he's using you, that testimony that you're giving people. Here's a young lad on the streets of Colombia decades ago, giving his life to leap of faith, and then being adopted, going to from the orphanage, which is a blessing. Then a higher level, being adopted by a lawyer and his school teacher wife, and then 11 more kids, 12 total, and now you into real estate, becoming a multi millionaire, and then being on this call to show people, look what I've done. You know, and I come from a different country. I'm not even from America, or I'm not even from Canada or Mexico. I came from Colombia, on the streets where it's even cray harder. So if I can do it, I'm here to inspire somebody across the world. You can have healing as well. So
Amen.
I'm over here. I'm over here just getting teary eyed about it because
and myself as well, Mr. Thomas. That's all we need. That's all we need as as human beings. All we need is a chance,
mhm.
for somebody to give us a chance, for somebody to believe in us, for somebody to believe in us before we can believe in ourselves. So that's all we need.
Well, like you said, down. I'm going to say that again. For somebody to believe in us, and for somebody to give us a chance. Wow. That. Mm, wow. Okay, with that, we can go right into the lead into about bragging on your adopted parents before I lose
But
it.
yeah, just they're amazing people, amazing people. My dad, he's just he's a man's man, if you know what I mean. He's a type of gentleman that still opens the door for my for my mom. Um, so that's the type of person he is.
As it should be.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So now we got adopted. We're in Oregon now at this point.
Yes, yes, sir. So I grew up in Oregon. Played soccer. Um, um, really, really didn't do that well in school. Um, I, I had this thing that they call now the short attention deficit, or HDD, whatever they call it. I think I'm dyslexic a little bit. Um, so while the teacher was in front of us, um, I was looking out the window daydreaming about things that I wanted to do and things that I wanted to accomplish. And I don't know. I think it's probably coming from a survival mode in the streets that I wanted better for. I never wanted to go back to that place. And so I think I've always, after that, the Lord instilled in me a burning desire in me to, what's next, next level, next level. So that's to the grace of God. He instilled those things in me.
Well, the blessing is most people, most young men and women at 11 years old are playing with toys and having fun with their friends, and you're glazing out the window thinking, gosh, thank you, Lord. I don't ever want to go back there. I don't ever want to go back to this. And man, that's just so powerful. This is such a healing call today. And looking out the window, having a burning desire, knowing I want more. I'm in America. I know I can do more. I've seen the worst of the worst. It cannot be anything but betterness in the United States of
Yeah.
America. I don't care how bad it may be here. It's got to be. It's always better than what I came back from. So from
My
there, go ahead.
my way of thinking is, if I would if I wanted to remain, uh, and not better myself and remain the same, I could have done that in Colombia. So the Lord gave me this opportunity to come to this country, which I owe a great deal of gratitude to this country and to my adopted parents. Um, then I came here for a reason. So now, where we're at in life is, now in our, where we're at here in our current situation is about sharing. I believe sharing is caring. So that's where we're at now, and we want those blessings to keep on flowing to other people. So that's our next level.
Mm-hmm.
You
Now
know?
we're going to fast forward it to the Oregon, and now you guys moved from Vegas, Miss Laura, and yourself, Miss Hunt, moved to Oregon. You already had my little sweetheart JoJo. Uh, go ahead, Miss Laura. I know you want to say something.
Yes, we did. It was amazing. It was going back to be with family, um, to be with Blake's parents and my family, because it takes a village to raise kids. And it was very, very good for us because we had such a great support from them.
Yeah,
And it was just amazing to be there with them. It was really hard to leave also, but they also understand that this was an opportunity that we cannot pass. We have to come here.
yeah. When I met JoJo, she was what? How old was she?
Oh my goodness, I'm probably four,
4.
Yeah.
4 or
Because
five.
you didn't have Jada then. You had just
No,
No,
no.
not yet.
no.
Yeah, not yet. Because you had her up when you were in Oregon, or before you left Vegas.
No, they were
Before
both
we
born in
in Las
Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Before
That's right.
we
Because she
left,
was a little one. Yeah,
before we left to Las Vegas, we had Jay. She was
that's
three
right.
months old when we left.
That's right. I remember when she was. That's right. She was a baby last time I helped her. And then you guys moved to Oregon, and then you start working the car lot there, and start buying real estate, and then tell us from that journey. You went to Ohio. A friend of yours said if you ever want to buy real estate, check out Ohio. Tell us. Take the story from there.
Yeah, so if I might revert back a little bit to
Sure.
moving from Las Vegas to Oregon. So when the market took a turn back in 2008, 2009, we took a financial hit, a major hit. You know, it was great moving back to Oregon to family, but she's being nice. Uh,
It's hard.
yeah, we had to start from scratch. And this is, I'm going to share, I'm going to share as much as I can because, I believe transparency in today's media world is important bec- um, because people need to know the struggles that some of us, because they're seeing, a lot of times people, you talk about 200 units, over 200 units now, but people need to understand and hear about the struggles that we went through. So when we were leaving Las Vegas, we were actually uh, let's put it this way: if you try robbing me, you'll be practicing. That's how broke we were. Okay. I did not, Mr. Thomas. I did not have $1,400 to rent a U-Haul when we moved from Las Vegas to Oregon. I called my father, and this is great advice from my father. At the time, I didn't think so. I called my father and I asked him. I said, "Dad, we're going to move back to Oregon, but I don't have the money to rent a U-Haul." He said, "Blake, you got yourself in the situation, and I know you'll get yourself out of the situation." And I think that's one of the great advices that my dad has given me, just because um, besides the market taking a turn, um, when Laura and I lived in Las Vegas, we were at one point in time we were doing very well. We were on our way to being millionaires back then. But as you will know, Mr. Thomas, a lot of successful multimillionaires, a lot of times they don't make it the first time
Mm-hmm.
or the third or the second time or the third time. Sometimes it takes two, three, four, 5 times. But I take a look at a business and success like a baseball game. How many times does a baseball player steps up to the plate to hit a to have to hit a home run? I would, as long as they have to, right? As
Mm-hmm.
many times as they have to. But unfortunately, a lot of times people stop swinging at the game of life when they go up to the plate. and they stop swinging. And you got to keep swinging. All it takes is one time, Mr. Thomas. So we rented a U-Haul. Finally, we got the money to rent a U-Haul, and we moved to Oregon. When we moved to Oregon, we rented an apartment, and the landlord was gracious enough to give me a chance because I only had money for the deposit and partial payment for the rent because I was just starting a brand new job at the dealership. As a matter of fact, I think the day that I got back to Oregon with the U-Haul, I left the U-Haul and Laura and the kids unloaded it, and I had to head to the dealership to start working. Fast forward 3 or 4 years later, I was because of our. So when we moved to Oregon, I went back. We went back to basics. A long time ago, I read a book called "The Four Laws of Debt-Free Prosperity," and that book teaches you to do the snowball effect on debt.
Mm-hmm.
It's to start accumulating and rack and rack and stacking money, and that's what we did. We went back to basics. We canceled. Um, we didn't have any subscriptions at that time. At the contract, I think once a week we might have to go to Redbox to rent a movie for the girls, and that was our entertainment for the week. That's how frugal we became. Um, and fast forward 4 years ahead, we were writing a check for $50,000 to an investment account
Mm.
because we went back to basics, and I promised my wife and my girls that we would never go through that financial situation again.
I love what you said. I love what your father said.
Yes.
And that's my theme for the first part of this year, all year probably. Go figure it out.
Yeah.
And so many people are so lazy. They want somebody to figure it out for them. No, go figure it out. And you both went and figured it out. And not only did you figure it out, you put away $50,000 in savings. I love that. So now that you got the 50,000, you heard about Ohio. Tell us about the call you got about if you ever want to invest, and talk about that a little bit.
So as you will know, I'm very curious person, and I've always been curious about things and my learning, and I'm a sponge of just asking questions. And so in a conversation, it came out. One of my customers that I have sold him and his family probably about 4 or 5 different vehicles. I asked him. I said, Doug, what you know you trade cars probably every 2 years. How you make your money, and you seem to be retired. And he said, well, I I do it in real estate. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. He said, I front them money. I have a brother-in-law who lives in Galion, Ohio, and I front the money for him, and we're picking up houses, $10,000, $12,000. And I go, what? I didn't know those prices still exist. And he goes, yeah. So me being so curious about things, I started scrolling on my phone, LoopNet, Zillow, Realtors.com, and I could not believe the prices, Mr. Thomas. I didn't think that those prices existed anymore. So me being curious, I started clicking on favorite houses and saving them, and then some nobody will get back to me, or answer my text or my emails that I would send to those realtors, and I don't blame them. Here's a guy 2,500 miles away clicking on a house that is $10,000. I don't blame him. But a good friend, now he's a good friend of mine, a good friend by the name of Pete Peterson. I'm not sure if you met him or not, but anyways, he answered my one of my emails, and he actually took the time and FaceTimed me, and he said, I noticed that you're interested in one of our properties. let me do a FaceTime walk through the property with, So I said, sure, that's okay, that's fine. And he did. And at that time, I was coming to Cleveland for a sales training. And Mr. You remember, right, Mr. Thomas?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So I was coming to Cleveland, so I took some vacation time from the dealership, and I would after the convention in Cleveland, I would drive from Cleveland to Mansfield, Ohio, and I spent about 3 or 4 days with that realtor. He had a stack of properties about this big, and it's funny. He said, "Today we're going to look the good, the bad, and the ugly," and he wasn't kidding. I mean, some of this house I would not buy. But anyway, so that's how we started. You know, COVID hit 2019, and I kind of saw the writing on the wall. For some reason, something, and I wouldn't say something. The Lord led me, I should say, because honestly, I'm a good salesman, but all this that has happened has been Him. All
Hmm.
glory to Him, honestly.
Yeah.
He pushed me to, you know. Anyway, so when we were here looking at those properties, I told him, I told the realtor, I said, I feel kind of bad because I'm not buying anything. I'm going back home and not buying anything. And he says, you will. So I went back and I started selling Laura
The idea.
the idea. That's correct.
You got to sell the woman. If mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Yep. So we the way we started, Mr. Thomas, uh, the house that we bought in 2013 had gone up in value and quite a bit. So we refinanced our house. I sold her the idea of refinance our house. We pulled some money out, and we started with 4 units. And then fast forward, 6 years later, we're at over 200 units now.
Yeah. Now let's talk about those 4 units. What back in those days? What did those 4 units cost you? If you don't mind, you don't have to go into.
Uh,
And what is it worth today? I just want to show people the power of their money.
79,
How much?
79,000.
Yeah, for 4 units. Yeah. I was showing some people some pictures of stuff I bought in Ohio. I bought a dozen of properties in apartment buildings and single families for cash. Never seen them to this day, and I held them for several years and sold them. People say, "How you do that? Buy numbers." I don't have to. The numbers make sense, and
Yeah.
that's the difference in an investor and a person that has to see everything, to touch it, smell it, feel it, to make sure. So now you've got this 4 units under your belt, and then what'd you buy next?
So this is a key. This is a little nugget here. So I didn't use talk about this is about leveraging.
Of course.
I
There you go.
didn't use the money, all the money from the refinance. I used a portion.
That's right. You're supposed to do it.
I
Yeah.
put 20% down on the house. Okay, on the property.
On the fourplex.
Yep, I put 20%, and I say I held on to some. And when I was here, and Peter was showing me properties, he was indulging me because he didn't know whether I could afford the properties that he was showing me or not. But he was showing me all kinds of different properties, and we parked across the way from a brick building at 31 units. And I looked to my left and I said, "Man, that's a nice building." And he said, "Yeah, it's under contract." That was back in September. So I go home, we pull the trigger on the 4 units, and then around January, I get a notification from Zillow that 31 units is back in the market. And I go, "What?" So I text Peter, and he goes, "Yep, I was just about to call you." And I said, what happened?" He said, I fell out of contract. The lady was from California, and I think she got cold feet. And then I said, really? So you have to cultivate relationships in life, I believe.
Hmm.
And you have to take it doesn't always have to be like a transitional relationships. You just gotta make sure that you go at it with love with people. Just because you never know.
Building a relationship.
Yeah, yeah. So back in Vegas, I have a friend that he at one point in time he owned 435 units, but he was more or less on his way out. He was starting to liquidate some of his stuff. But I always been kept in touch with him. So I called him up and I said, you know, I just started buying properties in Ohio. I just bought 4 units. Um, you know, how would you feel about backing me up on a 31 unit building? And he goes, no, I don't think so. Not right now. So this is key. Don't no means not right now. It doesn't mean no period. So I kept I for about 2 or 3 weeks, I just kept texting him or calling him. And then that was back in January. So around March, I called him and he said, you call at a good time, Blake. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, I had 4 houses in California and I sold them. And I'm looking I don't want to pay the capital gains now. So I'm thinking about doing a 31 exchange. And I think he was testing me also at the same time. Because he didn't know whether I had the money or not. But I'm glad I did not buy the fourplex cash because I saved part of the money from the refinance. Then when he asked me if I had the down payment for the 31 units, I said, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And he said, okay, let's put it together. And I found out later that I was in a bidding war with like 3 or 4 people here in Ohio. And I since then met them and they said, oh, you were that guy that bought those from me, huh? From under me. Because I was on the phone with Peter. I think because it's 3 hours difference. I was on the phone with Peter. Probably it was his time over here, probably around 1 o'clock, 1:30, because we were bidding, and it started going up on $5,000 increments after the first, the initial price.
So what I want to go back and regurgitate here, folks, that he said was very powerful. I don't want you to miss it. The first thing he says, we got excited when we talked about leverage. You guys see that leverage? You know how he got excited when the leverage. See, one of the key things that wealthy people we leverage up. So you think you need all the money? You'll hear about no money now deals. I've done plenty of those in my life as well. Trust me. You see when he got excited about leveraging up, and he also talked about OPM, other people's money. Did you guys get that as well? Notice what he did. I'm gonna give you one word. Write this down. He was persistent. He did, like you say, no didn't mean no forever. He was persistent. Did you guys catch for how long he called the guy? For 2 weeks, he called the guy. Did you guys catch that?
Actually, a little bit longer, I think, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, but I'm regurgitating but think about it. Some of you would stop at the first one. I can't do this. It won't work. I can't do this. I don't have the money. He didn't have the money either, but he knew somebody who could go in business with him. Hey, you put the money up. You be my lender. Private money, we call it. You be my lender, give a good return on your investment. He's happy because all the guy wanted was payments every month coming to cash flow. And Mr. Blake is building his repertoire of his investment properties where he can leverage up. So continue on. I just want to get that point out about being persistent, using leverage, and OPM other people's money. Continue the story, sir. This is juicy.
So I want to continue on the struggle a little bit. The trials and tribulations. It's the learning curve, I call it. It's not struggle really. I mean, the reward would not be as sweet as it is when you hit it, when you get to that point, if we wouldn't have to go through these things, Mr. Thomas, as you
Of
well know
course,
that.
of course. But take us from the.
So I
I'm
put in
sorry.
my notice April 14th. I thought it was the 15th, but I made a mistake. It was actually the 14th, April 14th of 2019. I put in my notice at the dealership after, let me see, I started with them 2009 to 2000, so 10 years with the dealership. So after 10 years, I put the notice on the dealership. And that was when, the country was shutting down pretty much. I came here, closed on that deal, the 31 units, and by the time I got back to Oregon, the country had been closed. So I just went ahead and put my notice in April 19th.
All right.
Yep, and no, April 14. I'm sorry,
That's okay.
2000.
1450 doesn't make a difference. But April,
Oh,
we got it. So let
April
me go
4th.
from
Yeah.
here. Let me ask you a question. So now we got 35 units under our belt.
Yes,
What's
sir.
our next deal? Let's talk about the next deal. So you went
So-
from there. How did the next deal come up? How many units was the next one? I want to see everybody. I want everybody to get the scope of the 200 that you got so far before we talk about what you're dealing with now.
Yeah. So the next deal was 44 units. Yeah, 44 units. So 31 units, 12 units, and a double.
All right. Tell us about the 44. How did your buddy call you on the 44 units?
Yes. Yeah, the
Okay.
realtor.
Yeah, the realtor, because now he saw you could buy, you got money behind you, got investors, you got money, your word is your bond, you can do the deal, you can close the deal. So now we're up to 79 units. We got the 4 unit.
And I went back to the same guy.
Yeah, same guy. There you go. That's the point. We got the 4 unit, we got the 31 unit, now we got the 44 unit. So now we're up to 79 units. Take us from the
Yes.
79 units. What's the next one you got?
The next one that we got was that 41 units.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I started coming back and forth, I did back and forth from Oregon to Ohio for a year and a half. 15 days in Oregon, 15 days in here.
Mm-hmm.
I started to establish relationships in here and build my network here.
Okay. So we got the 4 units, the 11 units, the 31 units. Well, I mean, the 4 units, the 11 units.
No, 4 units, 31 units, 44 units, and then 41 units.
Then 41 units. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I had to get my calculator to calculate this all. You thought I'd have it all together here. So now we're up to 120 units.
Yes, sir.
Then what? Tell us more.
Yeah. So when I was going back and forth, one thing that I've learned, Mr. Thomas, is people are afraid to ask. You know, if if you don't ask, you already know the answer. So when I started to build my network here, one of the guys that I became good friend with, he was actually he was cutting our grass, mowing our grass for our properties, and he owned the 41 units. But so he the lawn care business, it was a lot for him to handle. And after mowing all day, in the summertime, he didn't want to get those phone calls at 9, 10 o'clock at night. Hey, you come and fix my toilet. So he didn't have that for very long.
So he wasn't a real good landlord. He didn't
He
have a
didn't.
property management team. He was trying to run it all. I get it. He was doing it all himself. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what. I love buying units from people like that because they don't know how to run a business. Keep
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
He's a grass cutter.
But
Owning
one of
44 units.
got grass cutter and he also plows in the winter time. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So one of the great things that I want to share about this deal, the 41 units, is when I met him, I asked him. I didn't know how I was going to buy Mr. Thomas because I didn't have the money, but I didn't know how I was going to buy it. But I asked him. I said, "Would you give me first right of refusal?" Because he already knew that I had 120 units. So he knew that if I told him, I said, "Give me a chance. Give me a first chance to buy it from you." And he says, "Okay, I'll do that for you, Blake." And I didn't know. I went back to my friend in Las Vegas, but he said, "No, not right now. Maybe down the road." Uh, so him and I were having lunch one time. The grass cutter guy, and he said something that it was music to my ears. He said because he had a guy carrying the mortgage for him. He said my banker's not happy with me because I told him that I was going to sell the property. And I said, "Really? Why not?" He said, "Well, because he loves the payment coming in, and him and I had a contract for, I think it was 3 years, and he was going to sell it in about a year and a half, and so he didn't want to lose that payment coming in. So ding, 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 ding. That was music to my ears. So I said, "Well, why don't you ask him if he will finance me, and I'll continue the payment." He said, "No, Blake. I grew up. I've gone. He knows my dad. We've gone to the same church. He doesn't know you. He won't. He took a chance on me because he knows my dad, and I grew up here, Blake. He's not gonna do that for you." And I said, "Well, how do you know? I mean, just ask him." And I kept bugging him, bugging. So finally, I told him, I said, "Look, why don't you set up? I'm coming into town because I was still flying back and forth, 15 days in Oregon, 15 days in Ohio." I said, "Why don't you set up the breakfast? And I'll talk to him. If it works out, great. If not, then you can go ahead and sell it to somebody else because I don't want to hold you up." And he said, "Okay, I'll set it up." So about half an hour, 40-minute breakfast turned into about 3.5 hour breakfast. The guy and I hit it off. Um, I brought this much. I bought a binder with 3 character letters from my banker, one from my boss at the dealership, and another one from a good friend who is a realtor in Oregon, which is actually he's getting ready to sell my house in Oregon. So I gave him a binder this thick. Oh, and I also took my background check. I did a background check on myself, and I put it right there on the binder, and gave that to him. And I said, "This is who I am." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to look it over, and then I'll make my decision, and I'll give you a call." I told him, I said, I'm leaving on Friday. I think him and I met on a Wednesday. I said, I'm going back to Oregon on Friday. He called me the next day. He said, "Okay, I'm going to take a chance on you." He said, he asked me, he says, "Would you ever consider moving to Ohio?" And I said, "I don't know yet. That's a possibility, maybe." He said, "Maybe you should because you have a lot of vested here now, especially since I'm going to take a chance on you." I said, "Well, that's a possibility. It's getting closer and closer." I told him. So I went back to Oregon, told Laura about the good news. We're buying another 41 units. And actually, the gentleman and I are very, very good friends now. And he actually has financed me. He financed me on another. So you want to keep
Yeah,
coming?
let's get.
The
Yeah,
next.
hold it for to go to the next one. What
Yeah.
I want to point out again, his persistent, guys. See, you guys can't give up. Persistent. He said, before he even got into the story, he says, people are afraid to ask. Oh my God, you dropped a nugget right there. He said, give me the first right of refusal. And he talked to the guy, and all he wanted was cash flow. Guys, don't you realize in that echelon of people, it's not about capital. People here all think they need money. People up here want the payment. They want the cash flow, guys. He didn't want his cash flow to stop. And he wanted to know that the guy that was going to send the money could do it.
Yeah.
The building speaks for itself. He's looking for a responsible party. If you notice what Mr. Hunt did, he went in with a whole dossier on who he was. A character reference to my boss, a character reference to a real estate person, a character, and here is my criminal background report. Here's my fingerprint. I mean, he went in there ready. He didn't go in there empty. He went, he went in there ready. How could the guy say no? The lunch with a 3.5 hour lunch. Come on, guys. This is how business is built on this level. And I'm trying to get you guys to level up to see it. This is how it's done at this level. And anybody can do it. Notice this. He didn't come out of his pocket with hundreds of thousands of dollars. The story was he started off with 50,000 and kept leveraging. Let me be quiet. Let's go into the next story. I'm getting too excited over here. Maybe I want to go out and buy a 400 unit building right now. Let's go into then the next one, because I know he did another one, because I know the story. So we went from the 4 to the 31 unit to the 44 unit to the 41 unit with the guy that's cutting the grass cutter was the 44. Then went to the 41 unit. Now he's up to 120. And what after the 41 unit, then what happened?
So back in Oregon, there was my boss, my old boss at the dealership. Him and I were always talking about. I was always sharing up because they started to know what I was doing. And at first, when I first started buying properties in Ohio, I was the crazy one. You're gonna lose all your money. What are you doing buying those type of houses or that type of property? 2,500 miles away. Fast forward 5 or 6 years later, some of those guys in the dealership or some of the people that were calling me crazy are calling me, hey, I'm thinking about getting a duplex. Hey, I'm thinking about getting a fourplex or a house, and what should I do? So anyways, Jesus was not a prophet in his own land, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go back to Oregon. I'm talking to my old boss, and we know a mutual lady, which actually went to high school. It turns out that she actually went to high school with my dad. And when I dropped my dad's name, the doors even open even wider for our relationship with her. So there was somebody here that had 20 units in Ohio. And I'm thinking, man, I'm tapped out. I can't go back to the guy who I just bought the 41 units or the other guy who I'm leveraged, 120 units. Oh no, 79 units. Anyway, so I went to this lady and we sat down over breakfast, I think it was, and I just said, I'm buying properties in Ohio. You know my dad, our last name. You can call my dad and ask him if you want any reference. Because I knew she had money. She had money sitting in the bank, and
Okay.
the word was that she wanted to put it to work. So I told her, I said, I'm getting ready to buy 20 units. I like to buy them, and I like to, have you back me up. And she did. 100%. No money out of pocket.
All right. How many units was that?
20 units.
All right. Now stop right there for a second. Did everybody hear what he said? No money out of his pocket. Let me say a little slower for some of you. No money out of his pocket.
I actually got money back.
Good money back. I've done those deals too. I love it.
Deposits, tenant deposits, and yeah.
No money down deals with cash back, the close of escrow, we call them. I've done so many. The IRS like, how do you do all that? I love it. It's in my matter of fact, guys, on this channel, on my channel. Go listen to my book. Go listen to my book, God's Gift, and I talk about it in that book, God's Gift, how I bought property with no money down. Trust me, it's in that book. Okay, so now we're up to 20 units. So now we got 120 plus 20. Now we're up to 140 units. What's after the 20 units?
So after the 20 units, so it's 100, 140, right?
140.
Yeah. It's nice when you lose track of how much property you own. It's a good problem to have. So,
I was up to 54. Go ahead. I ain't gonna talk. Go ahead.
So the guy that we actually ended up buying our house, He's also a fellow landlord here in Ohio. But not too long after we bought the house that we live at now, he ended up moving to South Carolina, and he wanted to start maybe liquidating some of the stuff here. So he offered us a commercial building.
How many units in the commercial building?
Let me see, 26.
26.
Yep.
Units in the commercial building. And okay, so now we're at 120, 140, hold on a second, plus the 26 installments units in the commercial building. So now we're up to 166. And after that building, tell us about I know people want to hear about the financing on that, because I know you carry that too.
Yes. He did. He is carrying that. But I went back to the guy who backed me up on the 41 units, and he gave me the down payment.
Yeah, I thought I was bad. No way. I borrowed the down payment and I had 100% financing. I love it. He gave you the down payment and the guy carried the loan. So you're in for now.
No money out of my pocket.
Okay, I want everybody to understand this. You guys catching this? It's done every day in America. He went back and borrowed money from a guy who already owed money from on another bill. So I need some money, and you give me for the down payment on this one. The guy over this going to carry the loan. No money down on the commercial building. He walks into 26 units in the commercial building. I love it. Now we're up to 166 units. Then what, Professor? I love this. I'm getting fired up over here.
Like I say, you have to cultivate and build relationships. So
Yes.
I actually, when the guy that I bought the 31 units from in 2020, I think it was, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He actually at one point in time was the biggest landlord and around here in the county, 1,700 units. So I became really good friends with him. Him and I have lunch probably once or twice a month. When he's not in Mexico or France, he has 2 castles in France. So anyways, so him and I became very good friends, and people told me that he would never carry for anybody. He said, we've known this guy for, 20 plus years, and he's never financed for anybody. But I kept asking. As a matter of fact, when I bought the 31 units from him, I asked him if he would finance, and he said no. He didn't know me because we had just met and we were closing a 31 unit deal. But I built relationships with him. 5 years later, we became good friends, and he financed a 16 unit commercial building.
So wait a minute now. Just asking. I need to retitle this call. Just ask. People are afraid to ask. That's just the name of this title should be. Just ask. So this is so funny. I don't know about you guys around the world listening to this, but I love this because I'm in my comfort zone because I'm used to this stuff. So now we got 16 units because we asked somebody for the money to finance my other project, who said it never would. It would. So now we got the 62 commercial, the 26 commercial plus the other 16 units. So now we're at 182 units.
Yep.
Doors. Okay. Now what? After that, now what?
And then because of the cash flow of the other units, I've been able to purchase. I think the rest of them I've been purchasing here and there, just little by little. One of them, somebody came to me because they already know that I own half of the block of one street.
Yeah, that's funny. I meant to tell everybody you own half the block of a street. Matter of fact, he owns the street and you go around the corner, he owns that too. It's funny. It's funny. Laura.
So the same guy that I bought the 44 units from
the grass cutter.
No, another guy.
Okay, another guy. Okay, yeah. The other guy. No, the other guy.
He came to me with seven units, and I bought him. And now those I pay for cash because they're we're rehabbing them right now.
All right, so now we got 182 plus 7 with 189 on units.
Yeah.
Okay, where's the other 11? We got a few more, I know.
Let's see, what else do I have? So
What a problem I have. What else do I have?
1, 2. So I got two single houses also. to
Okay,
on
2
that.
single houses. That's 1, that's 2. So now we're at 191.
Yeah, and then what else?
Two houses.
The what?
We already count.
Yeah, we counted that. I'm in
You missing?
the no, it's a triplex. So that's a triplex also.
Oh, triplex is 3 units
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're up to 193, 194.
What's the other 6?
Laura knows. We're missing 6 or 7.
You see here.
I want you guys to understand. We play Monopoly. This is real
Yeah.
life.
Well, yeah. Let me see here. So,
Well, ain't that a blessing to have so many you forget what you got? At one
well,
point, I
it's
was up
funny
to
that you
54.
said that, Mr. Thomas, because when I used to ride around my friend in Las Vegas, and I would visit him at the office, he would say, "Hey, I can't talk right now, but if you want to ride with me, I'm on my way to Home Depot." And then we would drive by a street, and he said, "Oh, dang it, I have to remind the maintenance guys to come and take care of this property here. I think I own that one, yeah." And I said, "You don't remember what you own?" So I'm at that stage now, which is a good problem to have. So I also well, my office, a couple of commercial buildings. So my office, what else I own?
35, 90, 195.
Yeah.
His office. Yeah, the office. I've been to the office. It's a funny, man. I used to have 54 different properties. It was hard to keep track. So I'm sitting there going down
Oh,
memory lane with
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm sorry. 8 units.
Oh, 8 units.
Yeah.
When I was in Ohio,
You know why I don't remember that one? Because
why is that?
I just purchased that, Mr. Thomas. December? Yeah, in December, I just purchased the 8 units.
Okay, so we're up 203. I used to have about a dozen up here in Ohio. I was telling somebody in Cleveland, I never seen them to this day. I bought them, paid cash, never seen them for 3 or 4 years. Property manager.
The 8 units.
And
We just bought them in December, that's why.
I love it. So we're at 203 doors. I love it. Now, I know this has been a great call for a lot of you folks around the world to understand this is done every day around the world. And I know what you're saying to real estate people in your city. They all say the same thing. You can't do that here. Well, I've done it in Cleveland. He's doing it in Medville. How you pronounce the same in your city?
Mansfield.
Men'sville. He's doing it in Men'sville. I've done it in Cleveland, Ohio. I've done it in Indiana. I've done it in Vegas. I've done it a bunch of times in California. So don't tell me it can't be done. It's done in your area. You just have not got enough persistence to stay with it and go after it. Now remember, he's building the relationships as he's building, and the relationship is bringing in more deals because they know that he can do the deal. Because why? He's proven himself. So you got to have a great track record. So let your name be worth something, okay? And stand by what you do. Have integrity. So yeah, I'm gonna
and a house in Oregon also, which we were selling here in July.
A house in Oregon. Now we're gonna move it up close to the home real quick. Now you're working on a big deal. We talked about this a week or so ago. He's working on a 675 unit deal.
Yes, sir.
So let's say 675 units, one walk, folks. That'll give them over 878 doors. Tell us about this big deal you're working on now, because we talked about it a week or so.
I became part of a mastermind landlord group. We get together at least once a month, and this gentleman has been doing it for close to 25 years, and he's older, and he's looking to exit. And he because they are not all in one building, or there are a lot of 525 houses, and the rest of them. So he doesn't. if he was to part everything out, it's going to take a long time and a lot of realtors involved and a lot of transactions. So again, he's given me the chance to for the package deal. He's given me first right of refusal, and he signed a non-disclosure, and I signed a non-disclosure because he doesn't want that's out there because he's gonna get started getting phone calls from
Everybody.
everybody. He doesn't want that, and obviously, I don't want nobody to know yet.
Of course. It's called keep it quiet.
Yes, sir.
That's how
Well,
we
I
do
mean,
deals.
I talk to
Big deal.
people like yourself about it because I know our friendship, So, but yeah, so we're working on it. I got the P&L and the rent roll and the evaluation yesterday. Actually, it took him a while because he
Yeah.
was putting everything together.
Yeah, it takes a while to put all that paperwork together. If people don't know, P&L is profit and loss statement on the properties and investments. He may have it all in probably one LLC or several LLCs, and because we chop it up that way. So if one property gets tied up, let's put it that way, it doesn't tie up the whole LLC, but that's a call for another day. That's on my private channel, by the way. You guys need to go subscribe to my private channel. We talk about this once a month for a couple of dollars. So it's only $6-7 a month for my private channel, and we talk about a lot of this stuff that you guys are getting a glimpse to today, but we do it all the time. I want to give a little spotlight on Miss Laura because she got all pretty up today and looking gorgeous, and her hair's all curled, and she's just a beautiful woman. Now, excuse me, I was going to say behind, but beside every great man, there's a great woman. And I know you guys are the yin and yang, and you keep the house together while he's doing everything else together. Tell us a little bit about your day, young lady.
Well, I do pretty much everything. Everything that I did is to be done. I want it done. I love working outside. I help as much as I can. I'm like, do it all. Wherever my help is needed, I am there. And it's just I want to give Blake the freedom to do what he does best, and that's what he does. And I'm just the support team mostly. I just, he comes to me, honey, what do you think about this? And I go, oh my goodness, oh brother. But I'm here, and I said, we'll figure it out. We'll pray about it, and it'll be all right. We'll just keep focused and keep pressing forward. And I just try to make his life a little easier so he doesn't have to go to the grocery store or anything like that.
I don't like shopping. I don't like shopping.
So
Thank goodness for Amazon.
so I do all the support, most of anything, and we make a great team, and that's we're here because we kind of deal with the struggles, and we know it's just a little bit, it's just temporary, and then we'll move forward and try to have fun as much as we can.
Well, not only that, but you're such a great woman, and every man needs a woman like you are to him, because you guys do make a great couple, and I know he bounced everything off of you, and more important, I know you both know the Lord, and you both pray about stuff before you do anything. And I love the idea that my dear friend Mr. Blake Hunt picks his daughter up from school. Last time I was up there, he picked her up from school, and JoJo I know is coming there with her husband.
Yep.
Yes.
To work another business you guys are going to start, another business.
Well, she's just graduating from.
She graduated from the U of O, and she lives in the house that we left behind in Oregon. So we wanted to make sure that we left her in a common grounds, and it wasn't too much of a disturbance for her when we left, because it was very tough, Mr. Thomas, leaving our firstborn 2,500 miles away. So it was not easy.
I know it wasn't, sir. Now, before we close the call out, I want you to give everybody. I'm going to lead you away. I want you to kind of go, because now that now that JoJo is married and her husband is coming down to live with you guys in the house, you decided to start another business. Tell everybody a little bit about the business you guys started, and you're gonna let him run it. Your new son-in-law going to run it. So Talk about that a little bit. How did you come up with that idea for that business, and tell everybody about that business?
So being a landlord, I was spending too much money on pest control. So yep, I'm gonna certify myself, and then we're gonna start a pest control business. It goes right along with being a landlord.
It sure does. Now
Yeah.
you can call yourself when you need your own pest control. And not only that, he can service all his properties and all the association properties and all his friends' properties. You see how this,
Yeah, that's correct.
it blows. You see how this guys go? It's because all the association. Birds of a feather do flock together. You notice he said he goes to association groups once a month. All these guys are real estate guys owning properties, and so there's a like mind together. So now give me the business. So that's how this
That's
blows
correct.
up. So now his son-in-law, when he comes down, he's going to have him run the business, give him a salary, run the bit, and now they got another business off the real estate business.
But I'm gonna scale the business. I'm gonna scale the business too.
Yeah, I know. We talked about scaling it up. Guys, I hope you guys got a lot out of this tonight, because I'm telling you, there was a lot in this. If I were you, I would go back and watch this again with a notepad and pen, take notes, and sit down and go through it frame by frame, and just pick up a lot. There's a lot to be in this tonight. And I want to thank Miss Laura also for, young lady, you just get more beautiful as time goes on, as I know you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Lawrence.
What, Miss Laura, what would you say to the women out there listening who are in your shoes, got a strong man out there building businesses and doing things? What would you say to the women out there, Miss Laura?
Just be there. Be supportive. Whatever it is that you do, just be supportive, because it's just for everybody.
Yeah.
It brings jobs. It brings so much to the community. So just be there and support as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Support.
Support. I love it.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt, in closing, what would you like to say in closing, sir?
Well, I think in today's social media world, you can find a lot of gurus on just about anything. Just be careful. The one thing that I want to give hope and inspire somebody, I hope, is that, I mean, I'm an average guy with a speech impairment, really. I stutter when I get nervous, but anyway, if I can do it, if somebody like me coming from the humble beginnings that I've come from and going through all the trials and tribulations that I've been through, if somebody like me can do it, then so can you. So can you. I mean, one of the great things about this country, which I owe a great deal of gratitude, is that opportunity is all around us. You
Yep.
just got to be, open up your eyes and be aware of it.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's one of my 21 millionaires I've helped create throughout the country, throughout the world. And here he comes from humble beginnings, came to Vegas, took him under the wings. We started sharing and building together and talking together. And did you learn anything from me all these years at all? You didn't learn very much at all.
Who, me, sir?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Of course I have. Very much so. Very much so.
You're very special to our family.
Yes.
Very, very
Thank
special.
you. Thank you,
Yes.
Laura.
Back when I was and when I lived in Vegas, Vegas, if you're not careful, Vegas can eat you alive. They don't call it Sin City for it. So Mr. Thomas pulled my ears a couple of times, and he shape up, what, don't mess up, move forward. That's what. So I owe a great deal of gratitude to Mr. Thomas. One of I've learned a lot from you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Good builder. And through the years came very good friends through the years. And that's just like building your empire in real estate, becoming friends with the people that are carrying the loan. Folks, it's all about friendships. And don't burn those bridges. Continue those friendships, because you don't know where they're going to lead you. That's very important to learn tonight. And if I could say anything, I loved, I took the notes on this. Well, you said the notes that I took down that was so important. People are scared to ask. You got to ask. You got to ask, folks. You got to ask. You got to ask, and you shall be given. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you have not hit the like button, hit the like button, the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and get others to subscribe to the channel, because you guys are going to miss this good stuff. And also leave a comment. We love comments below. Please leave a good comment.
Yes.
And also do me a favor. I want to bless each and every one of you tonight. My book is on the channel, God's Gift. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's only 18 minutes and change. And the last thing I ask you to do is send this video out to at least 7 people and watch a blessing come your way within a week. I'm truly believe that in my hearts of hearts, because my anointing has always been success as well. And with that, I want to thank the Hunts for joining me tonight, Miss beautiful Laura Hunt and Mr. Blake Hunt. Thank you so much tonight for joining us. Thank you so much. Continued
Thank you. My
success.
pleasure. Thank
God
you, Mr.
bless you.
Thomas.
I can't wait till you close those units.
Thank you for our friendship.
God bless you guys both. I love you guys.
Love you too, sir.